Hey everybody, welcome back to another little outing with the Red Dirt Cryptid crew. Man, it's Friday. Greatly needed. It's been a long week. I am ready to get out into the woods, be able to relax, and enjoy myself with the guys. We got several guys going today from the crew. I believe my brother James is going, Mr. Hatfield's going, Mr. Doan's going. Invited a couple of other fellows. I hope we have some guest appearances. And we're going out to Canton. We found a nice place to camp that's kind of in the center area of the wildlife management area. And we're hoping, that maybe if we make enough noise, make our presence known, that maybe they'll make their presence known too. That's the funny thing about doing this type of work is there's no secret recipe. I think if there was a secret recipe, then I think the Finding Bigfoot people would have figured that out already. But maybe they'll come in, maybe they'll visit. Maybe if we're lucky, they'll leave us some type of evidence or let us hear them talking. That'd be great. Anyway, looking forward to a good weekend. I'll bring you guys along so you can check it out. And remember, if you guys have ever had any experiences or any encounters or know of any, and it doesn't have to just be in Northwest Oklahoma, it could be anywhere, I'd like to know about it so that we can write it down and compile it. We're hoping that eventually we'll be able to share our all of our files and stuff with other groups in kind of an affiliation. We're already doing that with the No Bro guys, and we're hoping that someday we'll be able to put everybody's intel together and be able to use it for some good. And we need to know what you know, so holler at me. I'd like to hear from you. Anyway, I'm ready to get down there. I gotta get tent set up. Well, I'm not sleeping. I'm sleeping in the car. You kind of see. And still, you got to get camp set up and get your campfire made, and get your lazy chair out. Anyway, man, this is much needed. Anyway, I'll see you guys when we get out there. All right, we are pulling in to the campsite. You'll see, looks like some of the other guys are already here. Let's see, camp over there. You can kind of see why we call it Fanghorn Forest. Anytime you come into a campsite and find a tent left, it makes you think, did somebody have to leave in a hurry? It's not a super expensive tent, but yeah, people pay good money for those, what do they call them, Swedish fire logs? Yeah. Mother Nature made that one. That sucker is that's kind of impressive, honestly. You gonna make you some hot cocoa?
Cooking Jeff's water.
For ramen?
I don't know what he's gonna do with it.
Well, I don't think it's gonna take very long for
I know, I was gonna try to give it a second.
for that beast to boil. I mean, you've got some pretty serious temperature going on there. That's like a kiln.
It's just so black and sooty, though.
Yeah, it'll make your pot black.
I know. That's why I'll give it a second to burn clean.
Yeah, it might be a good idea. Well, one could argue that the turkeys disappeared, or started disappearing, about the same time that the hogs began to proliferate, or whatever.
Well, yeah, they do, though, rooting. The turkeys lay their eggs in the leaves.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they may have similar targets.
With all the competitors, though, for the eggs, I mean, you'd think raccoon would just go a little crazy on it. But, I mean...
Raccoons and foxes
I mean,
and coyotes, yeah.
To blame it on hogs, I don't know, man.
I'm just saying that, I'm not saying that the hogs hunted them down and killed them. I'm saying that...
I thought it was the coyotes more. Like, the coyotes was the only thing that really thrived through the drought.
Yeah.
Everything else didn't really seem to thrive, but the coyotes, man, they were thriving in the drought.
Maybe the coyotes are eating piglets.
You remember checking their scat in the summertime during that drought, and they were just nothing but grasshoppers?
Yeah, I've seen that. Well, they are the ultimate survivors. There's the old Indian saying that says that at the end of the world there'll be two animals left, the cockroach and the coyote. I don't know what tribe that comes from, but I've heard that a couple different times.
I think it comes from the World Wide Web tribe.
Yeah. I heard that before the internet. I'll have you know.
You know. That's where most things come from nowadays.
Seems like somebody told me that back in college.
Yeah, I know.
Might have been my buddy Brandon.
We've heard that for a long time. I know I've heard you say it.
You never know what kind of...
It's just general knowledge.
Uh-huh. But, no, I would say that pigs would probably give out more sustenance to the Sasquatch tribes than the turkey. But, I mean, there's more pounds of meat on there. And theoretically, the pigs breed faster than the turkeys. Theoretically.
I was thinking when you guys left, I was like, well, good thing there's a lot of pigs around here. Dog man's probably not hungry enough to come into camp.
Mm-hmm.
You guys left though, a drone flew over.
No way.
Yeah.
Like low flying, like personal drone?
Well, I went over because I kept hearing the door the deer grunts. And so I walked over to the road and I was looking down the road and I had my little light here and I was trying to just see if I could get any eye shine. And I heard.
Yeah.
Did you see drones?
It was a drone.
Well, maybe you were getting zapped by Sasquatch.
I didn't see it. But
Well,
I
you
heard
know, when I was driving down the road on the way in, there were two vehicles. There were brake lights going north, and there were lights going the other way, and they must have gone west, because when I got down to this intersection down there, they were gone.
Yeah. That's.
Do you believe he just said that? That's exactly what just happened to us as we were coming back from
Really?
this gas station. Yes.
Same thing happened to us.
The exact same thing. Is that not odd? Because we were like, where'd they go? We thought
Yeah.
we thought that it was Jeff coming down the road to check on us because we'd been a while, and then we were like, well, maybe Jeff's coming down the road, and we thought somebody would come in down the road and then turn around and left.
But why didn't we see the brake lights?
We didn't see no brake lights. We never even saw a red light.
I did. When I got off the main road, there
Oh,
were
no.
brake lights about midway down the road.
Okay.
And as I got nearer, they drove on down a little bit, and then they disappeared. And then there were headlights. I was looking into them right over there, and then they were gone all at once.
It's probably,
We saw some weird lights
people that are
coming in.
making meth over here somewhere in the woods. And they probably saw headlights coming, probably thought it was the county sheriff. and
They ain't no telling, but
They probably hauled ass
we
and
pretty
turned
much
their
had the
lights
same
off.
thing. Like we saw somebody. It was like they were coming, and then all of a sudden they were. It was like they turned around and disappeared, and we had no trace of them.
Well,
Yeah.
the brake lights, they weren't all the way down to the intersection. They were about midway, and then once they were gone.
Huh, I don't know.
Check.
Well, I think I've told you guys this, but I may have not told all of you guys this. I invited a couple of guys to come out and hang out with us. One of them,
Are you doing messages to everybody? Because I'm not getting enough.
well, I've been trying, but honestly, it gets confusing.
Yeah.
There's a Tom guy who is with the North Canadian River Project guys.
Yeah.
And I invited him to come, but he said he can't make it. And I invited this guy Chris. He's the guy that has the Sooner Squatch YouTube channel. He does a lot of research out here, and he does a lot up there at Fort Supply Lake. And he said he might come out tomorrow morning. Hope he does.
So does anything ever happen up at Fort Supply? You know,
Well, did you watch his last video?
I didn't even know about him until you mentioned something the other day.
Well, he goes out there and stuff, but I guess he was camping out. I want to say last weekend. I think it was Friday night or Saturday night, and he was doing he did like a 7-minute video from his tent, and he was like, there was something walking around out in his camp, and he could hear it and everything, and there was
I did see that video posted, but I didn't watch it. I didn't know it was from him.
yeah. I'm pretty sure that's out at Fort Supply. But he seems like a really nice guy. I have yet to actually meet him in person, but I think I talked to him once on the phone, and I've messaged him back and forth a lot. He seems pretty legit, pretty tame. So
All my licenses are still valid and not expired. My hip permit expires in the 6th month, and my hog is in the 8th month of this year. But yeah, I gotta refill.
well, consider yourself fully
I just
extorted.
went into my options. I don't know how to hit auto renew. I guess if they expire, I'll have to figure out how to. When I renew it, I'll make sure to check that auto
I didn't
renew.
realize they ran. You could do a mid-year. The regular license always goes from the end of the year to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Well, the hip permit, most of them get it around dove season.
Yeah. That's just for migratory birds.
Yeah.
isn't it?
So I mean, but it's just that it didn't cost me anything, just like the hog thing.
Well, what's the plan of attack for tomorrow? I'm kind of hobbled up still, so I'm not going to be going on any long distance walking treks, but I do have a couple of spots that I've spotted on by looking at aerial photos. And there's this little area that we're camping in has a lot of what I guess you could call funnels, where the places where the trees get narrow. I figure they might be a really good place to go look for footprints during the day. And but other than that, I mean, is Mark bringing the kayaks?
I believe so.
Well,
Yeah.
while you guys are going up and down there, you know, it'd be kind of cool if you guys paid good attention and looked for tracks along the bank where maybe something's coming down to drink.
Yeah.
Be prepared to take pictures, you know. But yeah, if you get, what is that? That's not a gun.
Wouldn't be a oil well motor, would it?
I don't know. I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say it's a Sasquatch tree knock. But anyway. But does anybody have any like things that they want to get accomplished? I mean, I'm honestly, you know, I think the best and smartest thing we can do is just make a bunch of noise and maybe do some whooping and see, you know, let them know we're here.
I
Interested in them.
I think it would be just seeing what we'll do if you opened your car up, turn your speakers up, and play my one of my tracks off that Sierra Sounds.
Well,
Yeah, I have a well backfiring.
yeah. But I don't hear it running.
No, neither.
I mean, I remember the ones down at the farm when I was a kid, they'd go,
Hear 'em pumping.
you'd hear them pumping and then they'd backfire, but
That's that new.
I don't know what it is, but it's not a Sasquatch knocking, I can tell you that. But no, I was thinking that, you know, if anybody had any ideas for tactics that we could deploy, I mean, we've had a lot of rain. You know, the low areas, the muddy areas, they're going to have, you know, opportunities to have footprints, but I'm not going to push myself like I did last weekend and end up with my ass out of kilter again.
I wanted to go hike some of these trails because right at the gate there is a, you know, the trail that goes to this other field. But then I kind of walked, and basically it's a hunter's trail. Looks
Yeah.
like a hiking trail at a state park. It's so well traveled, and it goes off into the woods.
Yeah.
You know, north of the field over there.
Well, and I would encourage you to definitely
And
check
I was
that
thinking
out.
about going and maybe hooking up my hiking trail app and on my cell phone and kind of seeing, you know, mapping it out a little bit or something. But
Well, while
just
you're,
basically exploring. But
you'll have take somebody with you.
I gotta go, and I'd have to do it in the morning.
Yeah, you'd have to do it fairly early in the morning, but you
That's
have to
what
take somebody with you and keep an eye out for tree structures. Chris said that he has encountered tree structures out here before. He showed me where he thought some of those were, but we didn't have any luck with that the other day. But I don't know. I'm just, my main thing is, you know, give them an opportunity to come in at night when they're more comfortable. But I would like to find a nice big quality footprint if there's some out there to be had, you know. So we need to keep an eye out for all that. And by the way, there's a ton of firewood back that way if we need it. That's where I drug that one log from. There's a bunch of those big logs. So you can just
Walking that way?
back behind the campsite a ways.
Okay.
So maybe, well, I'll go over there tomorrow and everybody drag back a log.
About to pick up as far as I can get.
Oh, we just drag the logs over here. So, the contingency plan for tonight, okay? If anybody hears anything moving through camp. I guess we could send out a text message, and everybody's phone's on silent.
I don't have signal.
You don't have a signal.
No.
Well, that's not good. How's your signal?
Barely.
Whoa.
What the hell?
Dude, it shot me.
I think I got that on camera.
I'm sure you did. I had a delayed reaction to it. It was already in my face before I moved.
Well, it's not going to hurt to try to send
Is
people.
that gonna
text
catch my
messages.
my tongs on fire over there,
What is that?
Jimmy?
Oh, that's.
I don't think so, Jeff. I think it's going to melt your rope, though.
Well, maybe he don't want his rope to melt. But I think one rule that we do need to apply, though, is if anybody gets up in the middle of the night because they got to pee or take a dump or something like
Send
that.
out a text message. I'm just
No,
kidding.
just use a light.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know.
I don't think I have a light. I didn't bring it on. I don't know if I
You
did
don't
or
have a
not.
flashlight?
Oh, wait, yeah, I do. I have like a little spotlight.
Well, there you go.
I got one on my cell phone, but
You can borrow my headlamp over there.
There you
I
go.
got
You
two.
can always use
I'm
your
sit-
cell phone.
You got the new tactical one. Can I borrow that one? Or do I got to use your old one?
That Wi-Fi shot you had, Jeff, over there southeastern Oklahoma, that thing was actually pretty cool.
What was that? What was cool?
The flashlight you had out there in southeastern Oklahoma.
Oh, I don't remember.
Well, I
That
just
was the
remember.
one I brought, was it?
No, he had it, because remember I was yelling at you to turn your light on?
Yeah.
I had all I had was that cheap-ass Walmart headlamp that I wasn't going to be able to see a damn thing with.
Oh, okay. I had that little.
That was when that Squatch came in and was right by my hammock, scared the bejeebers out of me.
I don't even know where it came out of. There's like just a crack in
I
the
don't
bar.
know. There was something in there. But yeah, if you got to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, now you'll know if I do because you'll hear my hatch open up. But use a light so that, you know, if somebody's creeping around out here, we'll know the difference between creepy critters and people.
I brought my own facilities. I got the
You
pickle
got
jar.
a pickle jug,
Pickle jar.
got a pickle jar in there. Those aren't pickles.
That's not apple juice.
Micah's famous in the troop because he always has a Gatorade jug of piss sitting there outside of his tent. And all the boys are like, hey, you like apple juice?
Well, I'll tell you what. It's better than getting out of your tent when you camp in some really cold weather because
Mm-hmm.
you can build up that heat in the tent and you're warm and
Yeah.
you poke your
oh,
head
yeah.
out and you're like, no, I ain't doing it. And
A
you go
small
back right
tent, you know, and it takes a while to
I
build
ain't-
that heat up.
I'm not getting out of the sleeping bag, let alone getting out of the tent. I'll be inchworming out of the tent in my bag.
You want to hear something funny? I was watching this survival story about this Australian dude who got like, I guess you'd have to say mugged or something, but these people basically jumped him and took his car and stuff, and they thought he was dead. They hit him over the head with something, and they wrapped him up in a tarp and kind of half-assed
Yeah, I
buried him.
remember that, reading that.
Yeah. And this guy was out in the Australian desert for some ungodly amount of time. It was like a month and a half. And during that month and a half, the guy lost, I think he was like 87 pounds when they found him. But he'd been drinking his own pee and all this stuff. And this lady, and he was eating bugs and stuff like that. And it was kind of cool. And they showed pictures of him when they found him, and I was just like, oh my gosh. But anyway, he'd all healed up and everything, and they were doing this interview. And he was telling his story and stuff for the news people and everything, and talking about how he survived. And anyway, And I gotta admit, the guy was fairly methodical. But at the end of the whole interview, the little hot reporter chick or whatever, she asks him, she goes, well, so before we go, do you have any like parting advice, you know, for anybody if they're ever caught in this survival situation like you have? And you know what he said, and I'll never forget it. He said, don't ever drink your pee when it's hot. Let it cool off first and then drink it. It's a lot better that way. And everybody in the chick was like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, but the more and more you think about it, it's like, yeah, that's experience talking right there.
Well, and really, you don't want to drink it over and over again because it gets a lot of ammonia in it.
Yeah, I don't think he had a whole lot of choice, but he eventually found some water. That is a huge problem, is sitting there finding the time to go through and listen to those audio recordings.
That's why I sent it to you, because I figured it'd be a good time saver.
Mm-hmm. But that,
because you know, it's like one of them golden nuggets or whatever of information.
oh yeah.
I listen, sure, you listen to all that stuff all the time, and every once in a while you find something. But yeah, when he says stuff like that, or that he gives,
It's hard not to repost, you know, on the Facebook page any one of the Sasquatch Chronicles episodes, because, you know, Wes, he does a really good job of asking the right questions.
routine.
He's got, and I think he's probably got a list of questions that he always asks. But.
Yeah. I can be honest with you. I've listened to so many, it's unbelievable. But what's funny is if you go back and you listen to the original shows, it was so terrible in the beginning. And it was like so
he
different.
has fine-tuned his machine, hasn't
And
he?
if you've been listening to it for a long time and you know how the progression that's happened, you go, they've come a long way. And the same thing with you people's YouTube channels, but
Man, if you run across the original one that you sent me about the crazy guy that thought the one that lived in the dump and Sasquatch ate my buddy. If you run into that one again,
no, I know exactly which one it is. I sent it to Jeff just recently.
Really?
Yeah, I love listening to that one.
Well, I want to listen to it again.
It's on one of the. It's actually, you can find it on one of his.
Is that on
the best of Sasquatch Chronicles? When he did, that's the one I'll send you. It's like episode 420 something.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, that's kind of how
It's a 3-part
I got
episode,
started.
and the first one's not bad, and I don't even really remember the end one.
Well, see, and
But it's in
remember,
the
you
middle.
sent it to me, and I was just laughing my head off at the thing.
But no. He's actually super legit, and you know what? He says things with the craziness throughout the whole thing. As crazy as it is, this guy's had a real traumatic experience.
Yeah,
but the thing
and see,
is,
that's why I want to listen to it
But the thing
again.
about it is he's smart, and he says things that are just key. But he says, you got to look at the ground. Like, everybody's looking up, but he's like, you got to look at the ground. It came from the ground, man. It was like it was like it wasn't there, and then it was there. And he was like, it came from the ground. And he's like, everybody keeps looking in the trees. He's like, they come from the ground. And it was so weird. But, you know, think about it. If they're
This is the
down
guy
on
that
all
Sasquatch
fours,
ate my buddy, right?
Yeah. But if they're down on all fours, and before they become erect, they're down there on the ground.
Crawling like a spider.
Like a spider monkey. And he says it was just, he said, it's just one of those ones where he's like, they're not supposed to move that way. People aren't supposed to move that way.
Yeah.
You know?
See, that is the very first Sasquatch Chronicle I ever listened to. And
I know, I
it
sent
to
it to
me.
you. It's so funny.
And I was just like, I think that literally might have been the very first podcast I ever listened to.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is this? And I listened to it, and at first I just thought it was hilarious.
I'm actually.
And then what ended up happening was I went and I was like, oh, well, let's listen to another one. I need a good laugh. And so I ended up, and I randomly clicked on that one of that lady, that British lady that saw the one on the beach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And-
her voice alone will give you chills.
Dude, I'm here to tell you right now, there was not an ounce of lies in that woman. She's telling the truth. You could tell.
Yeah.
And she was not all tweaked out like the guy in the junkyard.
I've got all kinds of stuff,
But I guess what I'm saying is that's when I was just like, well, you know what? Maybe there's something to some of this because
Wes will tell you. There's
Yeah.
more sightings over here in Oklahoma and Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas than there is over there in the Pacific Northwest, and he's got them on a show. And I've been sitting here every time I hear a Sasquatch Chronicle and it's about Oklahoma, or maybe like Texas where it's like really close to Oklahoma,
Yeah.
or I feel like it is. I'm keeping track of them, but I think
I consider anything Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas.
yeah.
I consider that to be our territory.
No, I've got a list of probably 7 right there that are from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You know, the one I want to capture that I want to re-listen to that I can't find is the one about infrasound, about this guy and his little
Yeah.
brother getting hit with infrasound in the woods, and it's
Well,
over
now-
there by Harrow where Pam lives, or over there by Seminole or something.
There's several of those.
So
I'll tell you what though, that Sasquatch Chronicles is such a it's a treasure really to people doing this kind of work because there's so much information there. I mean, I tried to not post anything on the Facebook page that doesn't have these nuggets of information that we can
Pictures and
use
stuff on there.
to pattern them or whatever, but heck, you almost have. There's always something in a Sasquatch Chronicle. Problem is they're usually 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. And I think,
I don't mind listening to it when I'm at
well,
work.
I don't either, but I think a lot of people on the Facebook page, they're looking for a little 10-minute video.
Right, and
And
that's
a lot of people just ain't got time for that crap. That hour and a half.
18 minutes is like the
like Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah, you were
Jeff
saying
won't
that.
listen to it, but I can listen to him.
People in their
at work.
ADHD, man, it ain't gonna happen.
But I'll put one of his. This is what a lot of people do, and they even talk about it on the show. But I'll put one on when I go to bed at night, and I'll kind of fall asleep listening. He's got one of them smooth.
Melatonin.
What's his name?
Who, Wes or?
The guy. No, Morgan Freeman. One of them
Oh,
voices. He's got.
that,
Wes
yeah.
has got one of them voices.
He does.
You could fall asleep to.
He does. I'll tell you what. I heard him the other day saying that he don't like the sound of his own voice. It's like, man, you really got a voice for podcasts.
Oh yeah, he really does. Some people I can't listen to. I really can't.
Yeah, some of the podcast guys are pretty rough, and
Yeah. But I think David Politis has got a good,
boy, he does. You hear those coyotes?
And I don't know, but I think they're good guys. But whenever
well, I
you
guess
see
David
him,
Politis' son died.
I know. I noticed that last thing he
Huh.
talked about. I think his son did recently die. No, but what's weird is you listen to him on these podcasts, or you listen to him, and then
Did he?
Yeah, I think
Oh
so.
God.
and then you you listen to them, and then when you see what they look like, you're like, oh, well, I didn't really think that's what you look like.
You remember what was the old man that used to do Radio 1000 down in Oklahoma City? Mike McCarville. He used to say, he said, "It's Mike McCarville, the man with the face for radio."
Boom. Ugly. UGLY.
Correct, yeah.
You ain't got no alibi. You ugly.
Oh, Mike McCarville. But nah, I tell you what, there's so much information out there, but the problem is it takes so much time for one individual to acquire a lot of this knowledge, because how much free time does, I mean, if it wasn't for me getting up early in the morning and drinking my coffee all the time, I wouldn't have time to sit and watch these videos. It's just part of my routine.
interested in taking the flare and walking down the trail?
I'll go with you.
Just be quiet. Guys, I don't think they're 75 yards into the woods.
No,
They're on
they're always further away than you imagine.
Yeah.
They sound like they're out there on that trail where you set up your
Yeah.
audio. I
Yeah,
bet
where
you
I set up the
probably do
recorder.
have some coyote audio on there for sure.
I'll be out in my yard in the evening and it sounds like that. One evening I got up on the roof and looked and they were a quarter mile away.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, they've got a voice made for carrying.
yeah.
So that last time we was out here with Sherry and Albert,
Yeah.
I really do believe that coyote howl we heard was most peculiar.
It was really weird the way it ended up.
Well, it was weird the way it started too. And when I went down to Hanabi with Troy Hudson and Ryan, there was something similar going on down there too. And but it almost seemed like the coyotes were very in tune with what I'm assuming was the Sasquatch. It was almost like when the Sasquatch started howling. The Sasquatch was at a farther distance too. You could tell they were pretty far away. But the coyotes had to chime in. They had to get their 2 cents worth, and so it kind of mixed in. But it reminded me a lot of what we heard out here, but we were further north, camping with Sherry and Albert. But it's really got me listening to coyotes now. What we
Well-
just heard was super normal.
Yeah, it was, and it was different. I mean, that earlier one, I don't know what it was. It just wasn't as, the noise we heard earlier was just real sharp, like they were just right there.
Yeah.
And that other one wasn't that way. It was a little bit muffled.
Hmm. But I mean, I've heard so many coyotes over the years. It's uncountable. And so have you. And we've heard coyotes from Colorado and Arkansas and everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere we've been. We go camping, and when something like that, the oddity of that, it really stuck. And honestly, I wish that I would have been paying more attention that one time, because it caught me off guard when it really did it. And it was out north. It was north of the wildlife refuge there, out on that private farmland. But that was weird, and it messed with my head. But when I went down to Hanabi, I heard some more. It's really got me thinking there's some kind of weird relationship between these coyotes and these Sasquatch. And some people say they keep them as pets or whatnot, but I don't know.
I don't know, but I've been going over and over in my mind the deal about the deer laying by the roads. You get down at Broken Bow or over in Arkansas, there's never a dead deer that lays by the road very long.
Yeah, that's true. I still am just mind blown by how few of deer that I've seen down there in southeastern Oklahoma. I mean, good gravy. You pick any square mile over here, and there's at least 5 or 6 deer.
Well, when I went to eat, I had to wait on them over there by the
Yeah,
restaurant. A bunch of deer ran across the road.
they're everywhere over here, but you go down to southeastern Oklahoma, and there's not. And hell, we saw more wild hogs than we saw deer. So weird. But I think that's why they're here. I think that's why they're here at Canton. But I don't know whether they're here during the winter time or not. Now we have found those footprints that were obviously from the summer. So we know they're here during the summer. But wintertime, I don't know. Maybe we'll find something out this weekend. But I would like to think that they are living here. There's not a whole lot of people out here. There's a lot of deer, a lot of wild
Yeah.
hog.
Well, and the deer are active all winter.
Yeah, oh yeah. A small family of them could, take what they need. And, oh, I don't know if I told you this. When Jimmy and I came up here a couple weeks ago and we were looking in the snow, we were driving on that road that goes east and west on the north side that skirts the north side of the wildlife management area. And there was
Where we went in
yeah,
earlier.
well, not earlier today.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, prior.
yeah.
And there was a house over there that had a dumpster, and there was literally just crap, like trash, all over the ground over there. I mean, like, there was just trash all over the ground. And I took a picture of it, but I couldn't help but wonder, did something come up and go through that, or are these people just, trashy and don't care, they,
I don't know.
of course, they probably have teenagers that, don't get the trash in the trash can, then don't bother to clean up the mess they made. It's hard to say, but one speculates. Well, couldn't take any more. It's time for bed. We didn't really hear anything like tonight, like we would consider to be quality responses. Pretty sure off to the west, a ways, whatever that is, I did hear one tree knock, but it was, I'm going to say, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour after we did the second tree knock. I responded to it with 3 tree knocks and gotten a response. So, I don't know, maybe we'll have company tonight. So, I'm pretty whipped though. Hopefully whatever it is wakes up the other guys. Because I'm so tired, I don't know how alert I'm gonna be. But anyway, we'll get up in the morning, look around for tracks, look and see if anything's been tinkered with or toyed with, and keep our eye out. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the morning.